Check one, check two. Be on in a minute. Sound check, sound check. Hey, what's up? What's up? Got Bishop in the chat, got Rashane in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a little different kind of stream. I wanted to just be like, hey, I actually won! Whoa! I haven't won one of these for a long time and super excited. Rashane won one too. Dude, I would love to see her Ableton set actually. Shout out in the comments if you want to see Rashane's set. Like I have access to it. But hey. So, I am opening up my Ableton set today to show how things went. And if you're not familiar, I will link up to the original video in the description sooner or later. And that way, yeah, but anyway, what happened? So last week there was a contest. It was 2 weeks long. ADSRsounds.com, big ups to them. Love their production challenges. They do twice a month production challenges where they give you a prompt, and this week's prompt was to make a soundtrack to a video. And I am really worried that running this many things at once on my PC might give me some problems on stream, so I won't show you the video. So again, if you want to see the video, check it out in the description or elsewhere in my channel. But this was my 4th time. I'm so hyped. If I win one more t-shirt, I can outfit my full family. I got one for me. I even got one for the baby. I requested one for my 6-year-old. Next, all I need is to clothe the 3-year-old. And we got one for the wife, of course. So, let me show you my Ableton set. It's already open right here. And I wanted to draw attention at first to actually something really boring, but it's easy to overlook. I set markers. So if you don't know how to do this, I'm sure a bunch of you do, but right click up here, you can add locators. And since we were scoring a video, actually, why don't I just show? I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere on a folder on my hard drive, but let me see if I can talk while I do that. So basically, oh, here it is. Yeah. The first step though was I watched the video. I was having trouble even importing it into Ableton. And Hydratech actually showed me a way how to do that. If I hadn't known Hydra, like, I don't know if I would have got the video into Ableton at all, but big ups to him. I went in and I actually made markers, like, I'll just add a locator. It's like, you can call it whatever you want, Control Z undo. But I called it step, 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 because this is where the girl takes a step. Then 1, I forget what 1 meant. It meant something to me. Maybe it meant like, oh, riser. I started a riser there. Step, step. And then she puts her hands down, takes her last step. Then there's a camera angle switch. Her hand's set. The camera switches again. And then it all kind of builds up until bang. And that was the most important one for me to set, because I wanted, when she started running, I really wanted to put a bang sound. That wasn't in the video. I thought that would be hecka cool. And I also marked where it faded to black and where the video basically ended. So, yes, I think I actually did find the folder while I was talking. So let's see. Okay, so here's the video. So step. I was like, those are the things I was marking. So I was like, it would be cool if something happened. Hands setting her feet up, doing the camera switch. So a lot of my switches weren't like totally clean, but yeah. Yes, Bishop labeling is like paramount. Yes, exactly. I got this build thing going. All right, then it fades. That's the video, that one. Something, I don't know what the places are, third, second. All I know is it's not first. I really want to win first one of these days. You get even better prizes, but hey, $100 gift card to ADSR store and a t-shirt is a fantastic prize. I love it. So, three big pointers before we get into actually looking at the set that really guided me. One is I keep practicing and I try to work fast, because if I work slow, I get bored and I get tired. Yeah, the build up to the drop. I really wanted that. And actually, that's my second thing. I was looking for an opportunity. Yeah, we're runners up, right, Rashane? Yeah, it's a good place to be though, for real. I always look for an opportunity. So like the first two sample challenge or production challenges I won at ADSR, they were really early. And so it felt like a really good opportunity for me, because I was like, wow, no one's really participating. I think this is a great chance to get in there and at least just try something. And the other thing that I do, so I look for neglected challenges. And we were just talking about the Kyle Beats one in my Discord server today. I was like, dude, Kyle Beats, it's such a big contest. And to be completely candid, I'm not a big fan of most of the stuff that's ranking at the top right now. I think number 2's got it going on, but I think it's an opportunity. If I had time, I would consider giving tonight to just like try and put a beat on the vocal that's on his site right now. Anywho, I look for a neglected challenge, 1, and then 2, I look for a neglected angle. And so I was like, wow, there's so many orchestral stuffs. Everyone's making these beautiful symphonic things like Olympics on NBC kind of stuff. And I'm like, 1, I just can't do that. I feel like I don't have the right VSTs or instruments. I don't know. And I don't have the time or patience to make the cheaper ones that I do have sound really beautiful, or to find the right settings on my more expensive ones, because some of mine were a little bit expensive. But I looked for the neglected angle, and that's when I thought of drumline, because I was like, what if it was a college track meet? And that's what I started with. And I thought, let's do drumline, but I need something else. It's a slow build. I was actually really disappointed that the video ended with the gunshot, because I was wanting to make the whole thing intro and then bang, and then make something intense dance, bada 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 kind of thing. But I realized, well, if the whole thing's gonna be a slow build, one of my favorite things that has a slow build of like really crazy intensity ratcheting up, it's the Dark Knight soundtrack. Hans Zimmer, you know, like I've watched the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight like so many times. I watched the whole movie a lot, but even just the first 5 minutes, I could watch it over and over forever, because like tick, 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 tick. Hans Zimmer's score is like so amazing. So what I'm saying is I came up with like that idea. I like the ticking, because especially in a competition, you got this tick tock, tick tock. So actually, let me flip back to Ableton. That's the first sound I went with. And that actually is running the whole time. I don't know if I needed to do it the whole time, but it runs throughout the whole thing. And I like that when everything else drops out. So I'll show you that moment one more time. I really wanted that moment, so I could kind of visualize that moment at the start. I didn't know everything else I was going to do yet. I'm like, Hans Zimmer, Dark Knight, and drumline. Yeah. Hans Zimmer, Dark Knight, drumline. Those are the main ideas. But the other thing that I love about the Dark Knight soundtrack is there's those staccato, pizzicato strings going, and I'm like, I can't do that again. Orchestra is not my strong point. But the other element of that score that I thought was so amazing is there's these crazy like electric guitar-ish. I saw the behind the scenes on it. It's a lot of stuff, but he's got these risers that are just so epic. So what I did was I found one riser. I'll highlight it. It starts super quiet actually. I'll mouse be able to zoom in. And let me see if I can bring that up. Shift tab. Riser.wave. I didn't make this, did I? I don't think I did. It's not my style. So this is actually a riser from a Festival Anthems kit from ADSR Sounds. I think I bought this when I won one of the previous ones. It's a great kit. It's actually an ADSR Sounds produced sample pack. Highly recommended. Yeah, I think I've only downloaded the risers from this onto my hard drive. If you heard the context, it's pretty hilarious because it's like festival rave music kind of stuff. Like the sounds are pretty funny. But so basically it's one riser, but I wanted it to be super fat. So what I did, let me see if I can turn everything off except that. There's got to be a shortcut for this that's not solo. Because I think if I solo, yeah, I can only do that and that at once. Huh. Okay. Yeah, let's just do this hard way. So basically, if you look at my riser setup though, I've got 3 instances of basically that same riser. They're all pink. They're all there at the bottom. Nothing too special distinguishing them. The volumes are a little bit different. So the first one's going to be kind of loud. The next one's a little bit subtle. It's a -13. And the last one's -9. But the other thing I did was I panned them. So I don't know if you're listening in stereo right now, if that's super clear, but so it's picking up. It's on the right side. Here comes one on the left side. It's also pitched slightly different if I remember right. Yeah, I pitched it -8. This one's pitched -17. And then the last one right here, it's not pitched at all. And it's dead center, -9. So it's 3 risers. So that was one of the first things that I decided. I want TikTok, a little bit of Dark Knight flavor on that. So that was that. But the other thing, when I found this, I was so happy. It's a splice loop. It's right here. I called it D-line quads. So little backstory. When I was in high school, I was not on the drum line, but I hung out in the drum room all the time because I was part of a high school steel drum band. That's a long story, not telling it. But I hung out with the drumline kids all the time because a lot of them were in the steel drum band too. And it was a dope place to be. Especially because the kids in drumline were intense. So they were always preparing for competitions. And my favorite was the quads. Those set of 4 drums, sits and bring them, like it's like toms but super tight. So they're all pitched really crazy. And so let me turn those on. And I think I automated a filter on it, if I remember right. Yeah. I automated the high cut. So it's building, and the pitch is changing, or the frequencies are changing a little bit. And then they stay here because at this point, that's when I add the snares. But before I get to the snares, let me talk about the drumline hits that I added. So I found this hit that I thought was really nice, and I'll pull that up a little bit. Okay. Oh yeah, but I didn't just do the drumline hit because I liked it and I couldn't find something with as much punch. So this is a little bit of me being Japanese right now. There's a Japanese drum called a taiko drum. If you've never heard one of these live, you gotta hear it. It's like boom boom. You like hear it in all the samurai movies and stuff, and it's so epic and beautiful. But I actually found one on Splice. I was like, yes, let's throw that in the drum line because that'd be crazy, or let's see if it works. And I feel like it did. So if you listen to just the taiko drum, it sounds like this. It's kind of a chill one that I added. But on top of that, I layered one more thing. I layered these toms. Let me see if I can solo that. So the tom, and I pitched it a little bit. So the first one's pitched a little up. So the combination of all of these, this is my drums. Oh yeah, just reading chat finally. Yes, Rashane won too. So yeah. On top of that, I layered these drumline snares that I found that were really cool. So it sounds like this. Come in here. And I actually did some creative chopping of it. I forget what I did. Oh yeah, basically I chopped the end, that tuck, and I chopped it so I could get the tuck, tuck, tuck. Because that was my favorite part. And that was the one thing, like, you know, the common wisdom that's probably saved my bacon so many times is change something up every 8 beats or so. So that was an element I added. Next one I add the ta 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 ra ta 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 ra, and then I just basically found one where it was just, oh, you know what I did? I didn't find it. I built it. So I just basically took this. I can demonstrate real quick. Turn off automation. I pasted it. And I pasted it. And I pasted it. And then took off the end. Control E, delete. And then you just join them together with a Control J. So it's one thing. So now I just made out of the brrrra, I made it into. So it's pretty cool. I just made a super long one and I faded it in using the kind of this thing right here. So it's a long fade in and it sounds like this. Problem is I don't think too hard when I do this, and I was like, oh, I still want the talk, talks, the talk, this, right? So I just took that, I duplicated this track because I forgot. It's like a stupid dance beat move, but I just went, let's turn that one on solo. Because this is a drumline thing that I heard growing up in the high school a lot. And then the silence. So there's just a little bit of gentle automation in the middle on my utility. So my chain looks like this. This is my default chain on everything. It's basically Tetros, except that an utility to it, so I can play with the audio without doing the output gain in my. That's my only other option if I don't add a utility. So yeah, anyway, let me turn everything on so you can hear the drums all together, because this is basically everything drums except for my 808. And someone said no one else except Shane did 808 this week. And I was like, I did an 808, but to be honest, it was kind of buried. Yo, you did drumline, Bishop? That makes so much sense. But every loud, every hit. That makes so much sense. Sorry, if you're watching this later, I'm just talking with Brent Bishop in the chats, and he was in drumline. Dude, this is why Bishop's drums are like so legit. Check out Bishop 91 for real. So that's the combination of all of that. Yeah, actually, you're not hearing the gunshot. I haven't turned that track on yet. So just real quick. First snare, dude. Yes. Yes. Out of 2 does not matter. That's cool. So I got a crunchy flam. This is just more like splice stuff. So that's a nice little drumline hit. But I found an explosion. And the thing I realized was I didn't like most of the gun sound effects that I found on Splice because they felt kind of quiet to me. So let me add, this is the gunshot that I went with. That's nice. It sounds like a good gunshot from a game, but I was like, I want something with some oomph, you know? So that's why I added an 808 hidden here, sublab. But already that's a lot deeper and bigger. Got the explosion mixed with the combo hit from the drum line with the drum, the gunshot all together. A bunch of people on YouTube are like, oh yeah, layer your kicks and stuff to make super unique kicks. The one other thing that I have not talked about, and I don't think it needs too much talking about, was I did add crowds fully. So that adds a lot to the effect, I guess. Here. Oh, this is one reason I like having utility, because I don't like soloing. It's a trick I learned from one of the channels, but because it's bad soloing, they were saying on one channel when you're working on a mix, because then you don't have context, and having context is everything. So just their advice was just throw utility on it, turn up the gain, and you hear it better that way. So you can hear it in context with all the other instruments, but you'll hear it more clearly because you turned up the gain all the way, which I will not do because I'll blow out your speakers, probably some of you watching this. But yeah, this one is a little bit left. The reason I was cool with putting that first riser on the right was because I knew I was going to stack crowd noises on the left, so the mix would be somewhat balanced. So left, crowd, right, riser. And then the next one, it kind of flips. Crowd comes in your right ear now. I'll turn that one up a little. I actually drenched it in reverb too, because if I didn't drench it in reverb, this crowd is actually clapping. It's not on beat. So I was like, oh, it's horrible. So I washed it out with reverb, turned up the room size a bit. So yeah, this one's 83% dry wet also. Ableton stock reverb. Okay, let's get to the everything else though, because there was a lot going on in this that was not that. So I'm gonna select all, Alt mouse wheel, and make it small again. And we're now looking at basically only 3 other things, although one of them is a group. So, but let's add the subs first, because I'm really not liking this without subs. So I sat on that basically, and I think that was what I sent to my guys. So this is my third general advice. My first general advice is always keep practicing if you ever want to do challenges. If anyone's watching this that doesn't do challenges and wants to jump in but doesn't feel good about it, just keep practicing and work fast and get used to it, because these challenges, we only get 2 weeks turnaround. They used to be 1 week. So 2 weeks is a lot easier. I don't take a whole 2 weeks because my brain doesn't work that way. I have to get it all done at once, or I get bored or tired or frustrated, or all 3. Anyway, that's my first general advice. Second one, look for an opportunity. I look for neglected challenges that are not getting a lot of heat or a lot of competition, because then, hey, less people to beat, you know? Or I look for a neglected angle. Everyone's going at this the same way. It'll be super easy to stand out if I do something weird and different that sounds good. And fortunately, my drumline experiment, it was an experiment when I tried it. It totally worked. And then the third general advice, though, find some people that you really trust and enjoy, and show them your works in progress. So I showed this to Bishop and to another guy who I really appreciate, who's not here, The Wiz, always low, James Murley, in our little group chat. And they're like, dude, this is cool. Keep it going. And I'm like, all right. And I showed it to them. And then I sat on it. And that's kind of my last thing. Finish stuff and sit on it and listen to it for a bit. Because when I listened to it, suddenly it was super clear, dude, I need an 808 on this so bad. Of course it's missing bass. So that was the first thing I added, and that's track 5. So actually that was the first thing I did. I added boom, boom. Took me a while to guess what I wanted to do melodically, but I found that. And then I decided it needs something else. The melody didn't become clear until I added the other bass, which is this complete Rickenbacker. So sublab, I can open it up real quick, but it's actually nothing too special. I just found an S808 that I really liked. It did not need to be done with sublab. Just sublab's a new toy that I really enjoy. And the other bass is a Rickenbacker Scarby bass. And it has a very nice, instead of soloing it, I'll do what I say I try to do. Oh no, I didn't put a utility on it. So yeah, just to show what it's doing, let me quickly throw utility on it so we can hear it in context, because I don't think it's that much fun just to hear it by itself. So okay, gain up. Turn it down a little. Yes, right, Bishop? Rediscovering stuff by sitting on it, listening to it. Why did I throw this out? You showed it to us too, and we're like, dude, do it. Because we hear stuff with fresh ears when we take a break. Ear fatigue is real in many different ways. Rickenbacker bass on top of 808. Super lazy. I didn't make new bass lines, but actually that's probably a best practice anyway. Probably shouldn't have two different melodies down. So now it's sounding a lot more like the finished thing. I didn't think of it back then exactly, but I realized I really like the 808 with this Rickenbacker because it's got like this funk feel. I just want to do funk. I didn't know why. And I think it dawned on me later is like funk is cool for this because looking at that video, I'm like, I think this girl, she looks like she's got this in check. She looks like she's got a winner's mindset. Like she's driven and she's not just here. She's not just practicing, even though there's no one else on the field. Kind of wrote myself a little story in my head, which is cool because it's a score. But I was like, dude, yeah, she's going to win this. She's got confidence. She got that swagger, you know? So that's why I felt like the funk bass was a good pick for this. All right, now this time I think I'm going to solo though, because this stuff, I probably could have actually done a little better job not letting it get buried, but can you even hear it? What is going on? Yeah. Okay, let's go look at this. Turn it on first. It's automated. Is it automated? Oh, okay, this one's automated. Let's look at the one that's not automated. What on earth? I've got a guitar here. Not audible. Why did I turn it down so much? That's the other thing I'm trying to figure out right now. Was it even audible on the final track? This is super interesting to me. So basically, there's two guitars. Let me think about it while I narrate a bit. So there's this one. This was expensive. Yeah, and I'm finally realizing I have this really cool stuff that I should use. Pro tip. You buy something, use it. Especially if it costs money. Complete Control Electro Sunburst Session Guitarist is doing arpeggios, and it's cool because all I had to do was like push keys like this and it makes arpeggios. It's a lot of fun, and I hope I can get it to work for you guys because that would be kind of a bummer. The other one is doing the exact same thing actually, except I think this one, one of them I put like a guitar pedal on. Oh, maybe that's why. Oh, I turned off it off. It's a group because I'm automating stuff as a group, and I forget what I'm automating. It's probably gain, track volume. Yeah, that's it. So I just wanted to automate. There we go. Okay, that one's got distortion. It's super faint right now. Let me put another utility on the end so I can not mess up the automation. So I just got these chords. And then cuts. Yes. Yes. Because this one, the automation was super simple. All I did was I did a complete cut of all of it because I wanted it to be dead silence. And this had a lot of reverb and stuff going on in the instrument that I was not adding, that I just couldn't rein in otherwise. So I just had it, and it sounded a lot better, like a supernatural, everything cuts out like you're underwater kind of thing. I liked that a lot. So that was that guitar. This guitar, it's the exact same chords actually, I think. I didn't have a lot of time to work on this, so I was like, what's a quick solution? And then with both of them together, it sounds like this. Whoops. Let's just not solo. Here's a better way to show off what I did. Put a utility on the whole group. The whole group. Yeah, I'm on the whole group. I'm gonna drop a utility on it. So you can kind of hear that. And this is getting long, so I'll just turn on my last thing, which is a lab strings. So I've got a lab string ensemble tucked into this group too. That's the third instrument. It's almost the exact same chords, although I play them a little tiny bit differently. You can look at the differences here because it's strings and it goes like this. Right here. Last steps, the camera switches angles. So that's that. That's basically every trick that I pulled in this. And actually, like, this crowd at the end, I almost didn't do it because that wasn't in my final draft, my original final draft. I've got like final, and then I got like final. And I had final, and I finished it on like Monday night or Sunday even. I can't remember. And I was like, oh, I'm so busy this week. I'm not going to do any more. But it was good that I finished it that early because, like, you know, I put it on YouTube just to see what other friends thought before I even submitted it, because I'm like, I think this is the final mix. I'm not sure if this is my final mix, but I let a slightly larger group of friends in on it. I did not post it to the actual competition page, but I posted it to some friends. So if let me pull out my YouTube videos real quick. So let's see here. So yeah, this was the one that was the near final draft, and I let a lot of people listen to it. I posted it to a few forums, not a lot, maybe like 2, just to see what people thought and to make sure my idea was working for other people, not just me. And then I was like, okay, cool. I don't have enough time to do anymore. I'm pretty happy with it. But I listened to it a few more times over the next 48 hours, 30 to 40 hours. And I was like, oh. And that's when a lot of the mix ideas, the final mix ideas came together. And I can't remember all of them. There were like 5 moves. And I had 10 minutes right before the competition entry period ended. And I was like, I jumped on my Discord with 15 minutes ago. I'm like, hey, y'all. I have some final mix ideas, but I don't know if I have time to do it. And hat tip to Saikai, Amelia S. out of Singapore, because she was like, yo, do it. I was like, should I? She's like, yeah, why not? I'm like, all right. And let's see how fast I can do it. I did 5 simple mix moves. It was like, oh, I remember one of them. One of the big ones was this one right here. Let me un-EQ, turn off all my little gain pushes on things. Okay, so this originally, this was not at 616. This was up here. That annoyed me. Because when the snares are really going, you can't really hear the quads anymore. They get buried because they're both in the same frequency range. So if I look at this, right here, because this has a snare too, it's got quads also, and it's getting buried under this other one, this D-line snare right here. Because this D-line snare also has an EQ, and it's like fighting for that same space. So anyhow, this was down at 616, and then I added the crowd to the end because I thought it would be cool if at the end the crowd goes crazy while she's running. So yeah, it's good to sit on a mix for a few days if you can afford it, and it's good to try and have a draft ready well before the competition deadline so you have time for moves like that. Yeah. So these are the main things. So let me just reiterate real quick. 1, keep practicing, work fast, and get used to it, because challenges, they're good, but that's just a good work habit overall. That's why I do 10-minute challenges, because frustration and boredom are the enemy to finishing tracks in my mind. 2, look for an opportunity, the neglected challenge, the neglected angle in the competition. And I don't enter every competition that I see. I used to want to, but I try to be selective now because I do like winning. I'm gotta be honest enough to admit that. I don't like entering challenges where I'm completely out of my league. I have done a few of those, and it's fun. It's a great experience, but on the whole, I try to stay in my league. Before I go on to the third one, have you liked and subscribed? I don't want to be too sell, but actually I've got a lot of things coming. And honestly, like, I just got back from a conference on YouTube. It was online. I'm taking a lot of classes on learning things. I'm planning a lot of video help especially. But anyway, subscribe. It's going to be dope. And the last thing I did was share your works in progress at different stages. Don't share it like all the time, but like when you hit a milestone, a good point where you could use some advice, totally ask for it. Hit me up, hit other people up, for real. And that's about it for today. I'm just gonna let that track run, and that's that. Let me know in the comments if you found any of this useful, or if you'd like me to do this again. This is my 4th time winning. Just wanted to share some insights. And thanks a ton for coming out to the stream. That's all. Peace out, dude. See you on the next stream, y'all.